Today, I'm doing my live today, and just wanted to tap in on the topic of relationships and how much they impact our healing journey and just our everyday life. Um, I put a finger down if you've been in a toxic relationship. Put a finger down if you have chosen the wrong type of partner more than once. Put a finger down. Yeah, I definitely have had my share of fumbling through relationships and not choosing the right partner. And I think I have a completely different perspective on what that looks like for me now because I think although I was in relationships that I shouldn't have been in, I definitely learned a lot. And I don't think I would have learned what I learned had I not been in those relationships. So I think it was some things that, especially I took away from my last relationship. Um, I'm doing my hair also, by the way, because I'm about to get ready to do some other content and videos. So I'm trying to get myself together. But um, but yeah, I really learned a lot from my last relationship, and a lot of the blame that I was trying to have and trying to put on him. It's like you saw the signs. You stayed for damn near 7 years. So at the end of the day, he ain't the one to blame. You are, and you gotta learn some things about yourself, and why you keep choosing this type of person, and why you keep choosing this type of situation and circumstance. And so, I really am at this point. I'm really grateful. Like, yes, we still have our problems. We have a child together now. That's a whole other situation. And yes, I love my child, but was that the right person to have a child with? Probably no. Um, but just mentally, emotionally, I wasn't mature enough to understand that. And I didn't trust my own intuition. I didn't trust my own intuition for a long time, and I wasn't in practice of trusting my own intuition. I think I'm at a place now where if I have a certain feeling in my gut, I'm getting more familiar with what that feels like, and I'm getting more familiar with when I don't need to be in a certain situation. And this is just everyday life situations, even if it's something as simple as I don't know if you should hang out with her. She's not really your vibe, or like just the simplest things. I'm really cautious with nowadays, and I'm more wise. I honestly do think motherhood helped me with that. Motherhood is something that just really changes your body. Like even my reflexes. Like if there is a bottle that drops from a cabinet, I literally my reflexes are like ridiculously on point now that I'm a mom. And I think that I have been really tapping into my intuition and learning to trust my intuition, and what spaces I'm supposed to be in and what spaces I'm not supposed to be in. But I think it's really important that we spend time on our own, time alone, and time in solitude, so that we truly know who we are, we truly know what we want out of life, so that when we get in relationships, because the thing with relationships is that once you're in a relationship, sometimes it's really easy to lose yourself. You can get with somebody and you might have hated going to the movies, but because they love going to the movies, now you like going to the movies. And over the years, you spend 20, 30 years with somebody, it's really hard to remember who you were 20 years ago. So I really think it's important to, one, know yourself, really explore. I think, you know, they used to say it back in the day. People used to always be like, y'all too young to be in love, or y'all too. And that's true, especially if you're not really that mature of a young person. I do think it's really important to, go explore the world, go to different cities, go to different countries, um, have different life experiences before you get in a committed relationship, because you instantly take on a lot of their responsibilities, a lot of their behaviors, their personality, their character. You become one, and so you start to change and become something that you might have not wanted to become. because you're in close proximity with someone else's, you know, lifestyle. And so I just know now I know that it's really important who you choose. And like I said, I can't go back. I'm not even gonna say that I want to go back, because the lessons that I learned, I obviously needed to learn them. Because I continued to be in relationship after relationship that probably, just wasn't the place for me or where I should be. And at the end of the day, now that I look back, I realize that I thought too small of myself. I thought too small of myself. And, you know, people that I was dating probably, because I feel like it's always easy for other people to see your potential or see what you could possibly be. It's really hard for us to see that sometimes on our own unless you have someone continuously pouring into you, which is why I hope to be the type of mother that continues to pour into my baby and tell him how amazing and brilliant and smart and handsome and all the things that he is. But I think when you don't know, it's really easy for you to get into relationships with people who um, can't hold your expansiveness. They won't be able to hold you. They might be okay for the now, or like you in your 20s and you still trying to figure it out. And they might be okay for that point of your life, but they may not be ready for when you take off and when you're, on a different level, and when you're in a space where you like, all right, I done made it, or I'm making it, and not only am I making it, but I'm continuing to grow. I'm growing my business. I'm scaling my business. I'm becoming a better person. All of these things, they might not be able to keep up with you. And so, but it's hard to see that when you're first dating someone. And that's why I really think that it's super important that if you don't feel like you're healed, or you don't feel like you're in a space where you are mentally well, that you probably shouldn't be dating. Because a lot of times we get ourselves in situations because we're attracting people because we share trauma. Um, and I am definitely I've witnessed witnessed that and participated in that. I grew up without a dad. Um, my dad was in and out of jail my entire life. In jail right now. Did 15 plus years, got out, and then just went back like a year ago. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a lot of issues there. And so I ended up attaching to someone who had a similar story. Um, and I think our intentions, I won't say that, either one of us had ill intentions. I think we both had intentions on building something. I think we had intentions on growing together and helping one another grow. But I think that it was a lot of healing that the both of us needed to do. And, I didn't see that at the time, but I totally see it now. And like I said, I'm grateful. I'm still grateful. I'm not bitter about it. I'm not bitter that the relationship didn't work out. And I'm not bitter that that person isn't who I wanted them to be. Um, I'm just grateful. I just have a spirit of gratitude because I feel like after experiencing that, after going through that relationship, now I realize, girl, you had no clue. Your you had no clue like where you could go, what the trajectory of your life could have been. And I'm not saying that it's not still that I can't still go places and that I can't be amazing or whatever, but I just realized that the reasons why I was with that person weren't sound reasoning. And it wasn't sound reasoning because I had no clue how to be in a relationship. That's something that I've never saw anybody be in a healthy relationship. I've never saw um my mom be in a healthy relationship. There are a lot of relationships that are in my family and my ancestors, and just a lot of people did not have healthy relationships. So how was I supposed to know what exactly that was supposed to look like, right? um and so I think that it's really it's really um it's like trial and error when it comes to relationships. And I think that one thing I will say is that I wasn't ready to leave. I obviously wasn't ready to leave. I stayed for years and years, continued to make mistakes after mistake after mistake. But what I would say moving forward is like the way I feel now. Like even when I'm talking to someone, or well, I haven't talked to anybody because I just feel like I still got a lot of work to do on myself, and I just, like I'm open to like I'm open to mingling, kind of like hanging out, friends, stuff like that. But not really open to anything serious right now because, for one, I think I have a lot of things that I want to prove to myself, um, career wise, health wise, um, just a lot of things that I'm working on as myself. So I'm not actively like seeking out a partner because I feel like there are a lot of things that I want to work on myself. And I feel like a lot of times when you get in relationships, especially if it's not a healthy relationship, then it can be really hard to reel back in that focus and put the focus back on yourself. um, it's all about the relationship. It's all about, you miss this person, you love this person, you can't wait to see this person. What are y'all gonna do? You spending your weekends with this person, and it could be, it's so easy to forget, like, oh, I had a project I was working on. And I'm not saying that for everybody, because I have witnessed very, very, very healthy relationships where I have seen people be so supportive of their partners and so just like allowing their partners to thrive, and give them space to grow, give them space to complete projects, even if it's hard. Like I have friends who have beautiful relationships that I admire. And so I have more examples now that I'm a little older, and I'm more aware. I'm able to see, like, especially now that I have a child, I'm able to see like, okay, that's what real partnership looks like. Both of these people are well, both of these people have space to themselves, both of these people are supportive of one another. It's not one person above the other. To me, that's what a really good, healthy relationship looks like. It looks like great communication, and not just talking, but resolving things, working things out. Um, when it's hard, you're working things out. It's about educating yourself on what type of language to use when you're having hard conversations in your relationship, and making sure that that person isn't saying triggering things or harmful or traumatic things to you. So yeah, I have a way, 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 way better view, and I have more examples of what a healthy relationship looks like. So when I do decide to, like, dive into that again, or actively be, dating or whatever, I do have an idea. Why is this section not curling for me? Um, I have an idea of what I want, and but it can be really hard, and it can be very discouraging. And I think that for me, what I want to exercise, moving forward, is really maintaining my standards and my boundaries. So that means, if somebody, and not, you know, I feel like it's so much stuff going around about relationships, and there's so much division between black men and black women. But I really think when it comes to what your standards are, um, you have to stand by them. And the second that someone violates your boundaries or violates your standards, that you should just move along, and you shouldn't dwell in that space. You shouldn't dwell with that person, because I think once you do that, then you are teaching them that that is acceptable. And so I think out of fear, oftentimes I didn't move. I didn't leave. And that was, like I said, it was out of fear of being alone, fear of, feeling like, oh, what am I going to do without him? I'm not going to be able to make it without him. And so all these different, reasons, or all these different insecurities that I had, made me stay in situations that weren't healthy for me. And um, like I said, at the end of the day, I am grateful. I'm grateful because now I know I learned a lot of valuable lessons from being in unhealthy relationships or just being with people who, it just wasn't the right match. Because I don't want to make it seem like, oh, I'm just, everything I did was right and everything they did was wrong. But I played a part too. I played a part in the dysfunction and the toxicity. I think that I was working on myself. I was healing, but I think what I lacked was the ability to say, "This is not what I want," and I continued to stay because I was, people pleasing and trying to just make things work, and also um, like I said, didn't have a clear idea of what exactly it looks like to work. I do know, relationships are work, but it shouldn't be that much goddamn work. And y'all should be working towards the same thing. You don't want to be working against one another and you're working for one thing, you trying to get clarity, they just trying to, be right. It's like y'all got to be going in the same direction. And that's where the work to me seems like it resides. But I just stayed too long in situations that I didn't need to be in because one, I didn't want to be like, oh, she the one who broke it off, and I didn't want to have regrets. I didn't want it to be like, oh, you should have stayed with him, or like, like, have y'all ever been with somebody and then you like, or like you see stories of people and it's like the woman break up with the man and then right after the woman break up with the man, then he get a new woman and all of a sudden become a millionaire and just have a house and all the shit. And you're like, what the hell? I left. But it's like, no, you didn't. It wasn't, what you did wasn't wrong. It's just that y'all wasn't supposed to be together. And so the person that he got with and ended up having all these successes with, they were right for each other, or they were the right combination for one another. And so that's why, things changed and they made sense. But, yeah, I think I'm just really in a place where I've learned, and I've got to a point to where, it's at a point I was really bitter. I was really frustrated, mad, angry. I was mad as hell about, how my last relationship ended. Mad as hell. And now I'm just at a point of, gratitude and just grateful that I experienced all the things that I experienced and grateful that I'm actually learning from it because I could still be doing the same dumb shit and still be in the same mindset. But I've grown, and so I'm really grateful for that, and I'm grateful. It wasn't all bad either. Like there were things that I did learn um in the relationship, and there were good times as well. Um, and I don't blame him for nothing. I just think that we both had a lot of learning to do. And I think, I'm in a place where I'm learning, I'm growing. I have a really great community, a great village around me, and slowly but surely, it doesn't happen overnight, but slowly but surely, I'm able to see the flaws in my ways and the ways that I interact and the way that I communicate. Like I said, for a long time, I just didn't stand up for myself and didn't advocate for myself and did things that I didn't necessarily want to do, but didn't know how to communicate that in a way that wouldn't lead to an argument. And I would wait so long before I would say anything that by the time I said something, I would just completely blow up about it because I was holding in those emotions forever. And so, um, yeah, now especially with the work that I do. Um, I do a lot of holding space for other people. And so I know that whoever I do end up with, that it has to be someone that can hold space for me, who can help to heal me, who can help to facilitate healing spaces for me. Because I'm doing this for other people. And when I come home after I've poured my soul out from singing and speaking to people and helping other people to process their trauma. I need someone that I can come home and process with. And so I think, you know, for one, knowing your purpose and being clear on what your purpose is really important because I think that your purpose can inform you on what type of partner you actually need and what type of partner would benefit you and what type of partner um, would mesh well with your lifestyle. That's a big thing, and that's also something that's a really big deal to me as far as like lifestyle. What are you eating? Are we eating healthy? And I'm not saying that I can't be with somebody like I'm mostly vegetarian. I do been eating a lot more fish lately because I'm trying to build muscle and um, lose fat. So I've been eating more protein, meat, fish lately, but mostly vegetarian. I don't cook fish or anything, but like when I go to restaurants, I'll like get like a salmon or something like that. And so, I wouldn't mind if I was with someone that was not vegetarian, but I would just still need them to be healthy and be health conscious, care about, moving their body, care about working out, care about wellness practices. And like I said, someone that can hold some of the things that I come home with after I have been in spaces where I'm holding space for other people. I need someone that can comprehend and know what I went through and also hold space, pray over me, um, help me to unpack some of the things. But also be unpacking some of the things that they are going through, and just be really doing the work. But like I said, the purpose matters. I think it's important that we know our purpose so that it should make sense. Like if you are with somebody, and I'm not saying that I can't be with somebody that's like in tech or something per se, but like if they in tech, they got a 9 to 5, and then I'm an artist and I'm traveling all over and doing gigs at random scheduled times, and they can never leave work to come to the show, or they can, they're always working and their schedule isn't flexible at all. It might be really hard for us to be together. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to like know what you want to do with your life, so that you don't lose yourself, and that you don't lose yourself in what they want to do, and they don't lose themselves in what you want to do. Because I think once you start doing that, then people start having resentment, and people start feeling like this isn't what I wanted to do, and I'm doing this stuff for you, and I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you, and blah 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 blah. And it's like that's not my fault. That's your goddamn fault because your ass don't you didn't you ain't figure out what your purpose was and what you wanted to do with your life. And so now you here mad at me, and all I'm doing is, and then there comes resentment when there's one person that knows their purpose and then the other person doesn't, because that other person may feel like there may be jealousy. There may be, like this isn't fair. You're making more money than me, or you're, following your dreams, or when you go to work, you get to go to dinners and go to hotels and stuff, and I'm stuck at home with the kids. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's really clear that we just know what it is that we want out of life before we go just being with people and choosing people, and also making sure that there's flexibility just in case you want to change, or you want to switch careers, or you want to do something different, or um, just go in a different direction. Making sure that whoever your partner is, that they're okay with that and that y'all are safe. And I think I always say that my friends are the standard. Like how my friends treat me, how my friends are, they're literally the standard for if I am in a relationship, because I can tell my friends anything. I can talk to my friends about anything. They're always supportive. They're always centering what I actually want, and vice versa. Like when I talk to my friends, I'm not trying to force my views or my what I want for their lives on them. But I try to keep an open ear and a open mind as to what they're trying to do with their lives, and just be a sounding board and a person that they can vent and hopefully give feedback and just be supportive. And so I want a partner that is exactly like my friends. Not, of course there are some differences, but if you're not, if I don't feel safe and I don't feel loved and I don't feel honored and respected and supported like I feel when I'm with my friends, then it's not the right relationship. And so that makes me feel as if, it's really important to the friends that you have around you, because they can inform you on if your relationship is actually good or not, or if you with the right person, or uh when you meeting people, it's like, okay, they remind me of my friend, or like I can bring them into my friend circle and everything would be hella cool, and they would fit right in. um Family, not necessarily so much, because family is family, you can't choose family. But I feel like your chosen circle of friends, family, and loved ones, your chosen folks, the folks that really resonate with you and help you to feel your best and your most authentic self. I feel like your spouse should be able to kind of like mesh right in to that group of folks, because we see it often, like people get in relationships and then now all of a sudden nobody in the friend group sees you. And I think that the key to wellness is having community around you. And even when you get in a relationship, I think I really hate the fact that people get into relationships and then they're then neither one of them have community at that point. It's like now it's all about the relationship, and I really feel like we should, if you have good friends, if you have safe friends, if you have friends that are great people, you should feel safe enough about sharing some of your relationship with your friends. Um, you shouldn't feel like the people that you're friends with, that you can't talk to them about your relationship. And I really feel like that's how a lot of abuse happens, is when we're we get with somebody, they isolate us from our family and our friends, and now nobody talks to you. You might have like got into arguments with people or pissed people off, or told people, I don't need you, I don't need to talk to you. It's like me and him now, and I'm with him, and blah, 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 blah. And then, he beating your ass behind the curtains, and don't nobody know about it because he's isolated you from everyone. And so, which is something that I have experienced. And so, I think that um, having a village and having folks around you that can witness your love, witness your relationship, but also be there and support and hold the two of you in the relationship accountable for your behavior is important. You shouldn't be in a relationship that encourages you to detach from your entire community. That's not healthy. It's not healthy at all. And you should have a life outside of your relationship. You should be able to go hang out with your friends, and he shouldn't, she shouldn't make you feel guilty about being in community with others. They shouldn't be making you feel guilty for having a life of your own. Um, I think having our own identity is extremely important when it comes to relationships. And if that person feels like they're too clingy, or they feel like they aren't allowing you to be around your other friends, that's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. And it that can happen at like so many different extremes. It can be subtle to where they might not necessarily be abusing you, but they just, like y'all are just codependent, and it's like they have to be at every single thing you do, and you have to be at every single thing they do, and that can be exhausting. And it's not normal. It's not natural, and it's not normal. Like, you should have a life outside of your significant other. I'm not saying that, yes, y'all might not want to always hang out, but you should be able to have some time with your friends, and even just private time to yourself. I actually think it's really healthy. Back in the day, how our grandparents, they used to have separate rooms. And now I see why that's important. You might want to have your own space. You might want your room to be girly and pink, and with your perfumes and stuff. And he might want to have his little man cave or his bedroom with all his little man stuff. And but y'all can come and do sleepovers every now and again, or come to each other's room. But I think that's really healthy when have your own have your own space, your own designated space. in a relationship, and just especially when it's like, okay, we're going to be together forever. So you mean to tell me we about to spend every goddamn waking minute with each other, and I don't get to experience some of my favorite people, some of my favorite friends, some of my favorite relatives. I don't get to experience them. And I don't think that when people do that, I don't think that it's always malicious. I do think that sometimes people just have their own wounds and they really have a hard time with being alone. So then they're using the relationship as comfort. And so they may be doing it unknowingly and wanting you always, spending time. They may have social anxiety and you're the only person that makes them feel good about that. But I think that it's important for us to encourage our spouses like, no, babe, you need to, figure this out. Maybe you need to go to therapy. Maybe you need to, um, you know, uh, go somewhere where you can find a group of friends, or maybe you need to rekindle some relationships with some folks. But, I think in the beginning, sometimes it feels good because it's like, oh, they only want to be with me. They only care about being around me. But then after a while, it can be a lot to just when you're someone's everything. Um, and it just really goes back to, so there's this book that, it's a book by, so Bonfu Somé, um, Spirit of Intimacy. And it talks about, this was life changing for me when I read this. It talks about how a relationship does not belong to just the two people in the relationship. The relationship belongs to the community. So when the couple is having a dispute, um, it talks about the different rituals that they would do in Africa and in these ancient communities. And so when the couple would have a disagreement, they would come to the middle of a circle where the entire community was there, and they would just yell at each other and say all the things that were troubling their relationship. And and then they would have private separate time. The woman would have time with the women, the men would have time with the men. They would give them wise counsel, and then they would come back together. And it wasn't just their responsibility to hold the contents of the relationship, but it was the responsibility of the entire community. Because when you think about it, when we come to a relationship with all of our issues and all of the things that we've been through, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff for one person to sit there and hold for you. So instead of having that one person hold everything, you give a piece of it to your community. You give it to somebody that you love, that you care about, and maybe your mom, your dad, your cousin, your best friend. And then y'all all hold it together, and then y'all figure out a solution that helps you work through it. But one person should not be holding another person's trauma, issues, and all the things and all the baggage that we come with. It's the responsibility of our community. And so I really have been just trying to build that, honestly. When I read that, I was so inspired that I was in a relationship at the time. And so I was so inspired by that that I asked a few of my friends in my sacred sisterhood to hold space for me and my partner. And it was coming up on like the ending of a retreat that we were facilitating. And after the retreat, we went to the beach and we sat between one another. We sat in front of one another, and they surrounded us in a circle, and they prayed over us, and they hovered over us. They saged and did Palo Santo around us, and they, got in a circle and literally held us in circle while we just said everything that we needed to say, and we were just completely honest about all the things that we didn't like and all the reasons why we're not feeling the relationship. And we cried together, and literally it like lifted so much weight off of us because that it was a safe space. It was like, all right, this is a space where it's not just me and you sitting here just arguing, yelling at each other, but it's a safe space that people that we love and care about have created. And now we can say what we need to say, and then we can go home and move forward. So we went home, and we literally were able to get back to a space where we, we're trying to work on the relationship again, but of course it didn't obviously work out. But any relationship that I'm ever in, I will be incorporating that type of practice into the relationship with people that, of course, I feel safe with and that he feels safe with. But I just think that it's the community's responsibility to hold relationships. It's not just the two people in the relationship. You should have community around you that supports your union, your love, and y'all shouldn't just be having to deal with the relationship on your own. But that's just my 2 cents. And so I'm gonna tap out. I am, like I said, about to go do some other types of content for the week. And yeah, y'all enjoy today. I hope y'all are not necessarily celebrating this holiday, this colonizer awareness day, but I hope that you are tapping into community, hopefully eating some good grilled food and just enjoying one another in community. And I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be tapping back in tomorrow. Peace and blessings. Thank you for joining this live.